roaring in pursuit. Also a level 5 being. The two level 5 beings were spewing flames, painting the sky red, while the mutated bats fled in chaos, creating a breathtaking scene of a great escape. Upon witnessing this, Wang Qing's plans evaporated. One level 5 flying giant shark might have been worth a shot, but two? That was asking for death. Wang Qing's heart raced as he said, "The wind is picking up. We need to get out of here." He had considered testing his level 3 warship against one, but with two, that was definitely not an option. Moreover, once engaged, he would be attacked by both giant creatures and numerous mutated bats, and he had no confidence in coming out victorious. The surroundings were wide open, and he might not even have a place to run. Su Xinghai and the others would suffer too. Realizing this, he promptly turned the vehicle around, took a country road, and prepared to find a place to avoid the swarm of creatures, letting them chase each other instead. Monsters often engage in fierce battles, but once they detect humans, they almost always stop to unite against them. If it were just a mutated shark or a group of mutated bats, the city might consider capturing some energy points. However, with both types present, especially two level 5 mutated creatures, the city quickly abandoned that idea and prepared to avoid confrontation. Nevertheless, the monsters were so engrossed in their aerial combat that they seemed oblivious to the small humans below. The city's gaze was fixed on the flying giant shark, calculating that if it had the chance to encounter them alone, it would find a way to launch a surprise attack. 1,500 energy points was indeed tempting. The city temporarily left the highway and drove along a rural road into a small village, only to discover that there were survivors hiding within. The two groups collided directly. Chapter 102. They have all disappeared. This was a small village called Shigang Village, located beside the highway. The village had been built quite well, but under the apocalypse, it was now deserted, with most of the mutated creatures seemingly having left along with the people. Only some mutated chickens and ducks remained, ruling over the village. At this moment, the people arriving in the village were undoubtedly outsiders, just differing in their order of arrival. As the city's vehicle entered, they saw a row of cars parked haphazardly. Someone in the village peeked out, gun barrel pointed, nervously watching the monsters roaring in the sky, and whispered, "Who goes there?" This group was not small. There were people in several houses at the village entrance, roughly estimated to be at least 20 individuals, both young and old, armed with firearms. They seemed to be hiding here to avoid the monsters, and upon seeing newcomers, they immediately became alert. The city lowered the car window and said, "We are also survivors, just here to avoid the monsters. We don't want to engage in a firefight." As he spoke, he revealed the muzzle of his shotgun. At this stage, most survivors who could make it here were capable individuals. Those who were timid had likely perished by now. The ones who survived were mostly mingling with military groups as parasites. Thus, this group did not appear to be thugs, and the city remained cautious. Of course, he hoped there would be no gunfire, and he did not believe this group would shoot either, because behind them, a swarm of mutated bats was screaming past, accompanied by the two level 5 flying sharks heading closer. If they opened fire now, they would immediately expose themselves, and everyone would be in danger. Indeed, the tense atmosphere lasted only a moment before a man in his 50s emerged from one of the houses ahead, saying, "Put down your guns, brothers. Come in quickly. We mean no harm. We are all survivors just trying to stay alive. Don't let those monsters find us, or we're all done for." This man seemed to be the leader of the survivors, and as soon as he spoke, all the gun barrels retracted. The other party relaxed, and Wang Cheng immediately dropped his tough demeanor, putting down the shotgun and parking the vehicle in the shadow of a corner before entering a room in the village with Su Xinghai and others. They sought shelter under the same roof as the leading man, not for any other reason, but in case the other side attempted any small moves. Wang Cheng could act directly, capturing the leader first. There were 7 of them on Wang Cheng's side, with 5 being awakened ones. If it came to close combat, Wang Cheng had nothing to fear, only worried about attracting a horde of monsters. The middle-aged man was surprised by Wang Cheng's boldness, daring to directly intrude into their hiding place, and he gave Wang Cheng a deep look. This was either foolishness or a belief in his own strength, showing no fear of them preparing an ambush inside the house. At that moment, a deafening roar erupted from a nearby location. The sky outside the window turned crimson in an instant as a terrifying level 5 mutated flying shark swept by overhead, its flames nearly scorching the entire sky, presenting a shocking spectacle. The village and its surroundings trembled, and no one dared to speak. Only Zhang Chao murmured, "Damn, did it crawl up from the sea?" "No, it flew up from the sea. I remember the navigators and mutated crabs we encountered. It seems like we are in more danger in this coastal city than elsewhere. Thankfully, that giant octopus didn't crawl up." Zhang Chao, who was usually carefree, made this remark when he was with his brothers, causing everyone to glance at him in surprise. Wang Cheng and Su Xinghai exchanged amused looks, and the tense atmosphere dissipated significantly. Fortunately, they were not discovered, and the monster soon flew past overhead. Wang Cheng shifted his gaze, examining the survivors in the room. This group appeared quite ordinary, consisting of people of all ages. Unlike those ruthless individuals who thrived in the apocalypse, they seemed very honest. The tall, middle-aged man held a shotgun and looked somewhat nervous, also sizing up Wang Cheng and the others. Once the monster had retreated, he asked, "Where are you survivors from?" Wang Cheng and Su Xinghai exchanged glances and replied, "We come from the coastal city." A young man behind the middle-aged man excitedly responded, "You also came from the coastal city?" "So did we." Through their conversation, Wang Cheng discovered that this group was also survivors from the coastal city. Their entire convoy had fallen apart at the time, and they were one of the survivor groups that desperately fled the city. Moreover, most of them actually did not know each other. They had met along the way and formed a makeshift team because they felt they could trust one another. The middle-aged man was a powerful ice ability user and the one who gathered everyone together, thus earning their respect and being elected as the leader of the convoy. His name was Yu Jisheng, and as Wang Cheng got to know him, he indeed felt that this person was quite kind. This group of people was not bad. Wang Cheng and his group briefly introduced themselves, mentioning that they were also survivors who had escaped separately. Wang Cheng intended to reveal that he was an awakened one, but Su Xinghai spoke up first, claiming to be an awakened one himself, without elaborating on the fact that among their group of 7, 5 were awakened, and one unconscious person was the first survivor from the temporary survivor gathering point in Haiqing. There was no need to discuss those matters. In fact, Wang Cheng had only shared Xu Bing's identity with Su Xinghai. Zhang Chao, Wang Qi, and Yuan Rue in the convoy were unaware of the astonishing identity of that unconscious female awakened one. This wasn't due to Wang Cheng's intention to keep it secret, but rather out of concern that making it widely known could cause chaos. As Xu Bing's identity was indeed special, Wang Cheng understood Su Xinghai's intention. Mentioning who the survivors were would surely draw significant attention from the other team, and Su Xinghai was taking on the risk voluntarily. Once both sides clarified their identities, the atmosphere improved somewhat, and their vigilance lessened. The aerial escape outside had yet to conclude, with terrifying level 5 mutated creatures lurking nearby. They were unable to move for the time being, so they decided to hide there and exchange information. Wang Cheng didn't say much, only asking, "So are you all heading to Pingfeng Mountain to meet with the military? This route doesn't seem right." Upon hearing this question, Yu Jisheng's kind expression slightly changed as he replied, "You don't know? Know what?" Wang Cheng frowned. "I saw you taking this road and thought you knew." Yu Jisheng sighed. The main force of the Great Retreat from Haiqing, along with tens of thousands of survivors who escaped, have no idea where they ended up. Hearing this, both Wang Cheng and Su Xinghai felt an inexplicable chill in their hearts. "I don't understand. Yugu, can you explain it clearly?" Yu Jisheng glanced at the others, pulled Wang Cheng and Su Xinghai aside, and then said, "You really don't know? Actually, we desperately wanted to rendezvous with the military. Right after leaving Haiqing, we were trying our best to catch up with the military's retreating convoy. At first, we encountered many people who said the military had sped ahead, and we were hopeful to follow them to Pingfeng Mountain to establish a new home. But then, things started to go wrong. No matter how we chased, we couldn't catch up with the military. Others felt the same way. Initially, we thought the military sped up after exiting the city, while we were weak in the urban area and had to evade monsters, which slowed us down. However, after leaving the city, we accelerated with all our might, but still couldn't catch up." Wang Cheng and Su Xinghai remained silent. Just hearing this made them feel something was off. How could it be that they couldn't catch up? No matter how fast the military was, they were carrying so many survivors. They couldn't possibly be too fast. How could ordinary survivors not catch up at full speed without any obstacles? Unless until later, Yu Jisheng paused slightly, his voice becoming lower as he said, "We encountered some survivors of the collapse and saw the corpses everywhere. They told us that it was all gone. The military's large contingent, the division headquarters, and the tens of thousands they were evacuating were attacked at the gate of the coastal city, retreated east, and then suddenly disappeared. No one could track them, and no one knows what happened. But no one could even say where they went eastward. The large group of tens of thousands, both military and survivors, just evaporated." Su Xinghai listened, his face turning pale, while Wang Cheng's expression showed fear as he blurted out, "How is that possible? So many people just vanished? Were the people you met not from the group?" Chapter 103, "We can protect you." Wang Cheng felt his heart race. On one hand, he thought what Yu Jisheng said was absurd, but on the other hand, he felt an eerie alignment with the fragments of information they had encountered. Li Xinqing and the others could not contact the main military forces, and the reinforcements Zhao Nin had called were also few, consisting of troops that had been separated from the main group, just like Zhang Rui's unit. What they saw at the highway exit when leaving the city was a scene of devastation. It indeed seemed that a brutal battle had taken place there. As the entire highway was wrecked, Wang Cheng recalled that since the meteorite fell and the crimson spores enveloped the convoy, the fleeing group had disintegrated. and they had not heard any concrete news about the division headquarters or the fleeing troops. All information was mere speculation.